Okay, let's get it. Black girl magic dripping. Yeah, she's on a mission. Keeping our culture lifted. Now you can watch and listen. Tammi Mac. Oh, what show is that? It's the Tammi Mac Show on Fox Soul. Tammi Mac, Tammi Mac, yeah. Who that? Tammi Mac, hey. So you know this Tammi Mac, hey. Tammi Mac.
Welcome to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. So tonight we're talking about the charged with manslaughter, and Kobe Bryant inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. It's Friday. Time for my Friday faves and yours. That's right. Another day of another round of the political and trending highlights of the week. So please welcome my Friday co-host, the co-founder of the Anti-Racism Kentucky Coalition, Dr. O.J. Oleka, activist, comedian, and filmmaker Alicia Cooper. Alicia, wait a minute. When they add activists onto your title?
When you black, you're automatic activist.
You done spoke out one time about George Floyd and then become an activist. And radio personality, activist Dominique DePrima, and political analyst Ed Sanders.
Can I get another title too, Tammi? Can I be?
Yeah, I want to be an activist too.
I want to be YouTube personality, maybe president.
Oh, Instagram influencer.
Exactly, influencer.
Alicia, we missed you last Friday, boo-boo.
I missed y'all. I was in the Dominican Republic
doing that activism thing. Let me guess. Doing that activism thing.
Yes, right in the Dominican Republic. I was the activist over there, and we had a good time. I didn't want to come back. Then I said, how can I miss my Friday, my Friday family? I just missed y'all the whole time.
So I hope you and those girls had a great time keeping people happy and laughing on the comedy tour in the Dominican Republic.
We did.
You looked real sexy over there. I'm gonna tell you that. You went over there trying to get you a man because you was looking sexy, honey.
Let me tell you, I lost 1.5 pounds because their food and drinks are different than ours. They don't have all this stuff pumped in there as we got pumped in there. You accidentally lose weight over there.
Maybe I should switch over. Let's talk about getting vaccinated. I don't believe in asking people if they're vaccinated or not, but if you guys want to share it with me, you're more than welcome. The CDC announced that fully vaccinated people are no longer required to wear masks or practice social distancing. So you can hug, kiss, and make love now. CDC director stated in a White House COVID-19 briefing, if you are fully vaccinated, you can start doing the things that you stopped doing because of the pandemic. We have allowed for this moment when we can get back to some sense of normalcy. So you can do the most now. I really was enjoying this whole social distancing thing, the whole putting the mask over your face. Like, I really enjoyed it so much. I mean, when I'm in the grocery store, I do like this. If people get too close to me, I'll be like, hey, 6 feet. So how do we feel about this? You can't really know if someone's been vaccinated or not. So it's kind of given the go ahead for everybody to be without mask, if you ask me, because nobody's walking down the street with a I've been vaccinated sticker, like I voted sticker on, you know? So how do we feel about this, Miss Alicia, who's been to the Dominican Republic?
Well, the anti-maskers are going to love it the most because they can pretend to be vaccinated now. You know, they're going to just take liberties and act a crazy plum fool. You know, people with missing front teeth, they're going to be exposed again because we can see your ass. But I've been vaccinated and I'm still going to wear a mask because I can't trust what's going on out there. I don't trust the people who say they had it actually had it. So I'm still going to socially distance and wear my mask at least for the rest of this year. But yeah, I mean, it's a good feeling to know that pretty soon we'll be back to some more normalcy.
Yeah, at least until the end of this year. I would agree with that. Dr. Oleka, where do you stand on this?
Well, I am fully vaccinated, and quite frankly, this news should have come weeks ago. I mean, when you follow the science and you understand how these things work, you get a vaccine. Sure, we don't have 100% inoculation from any virus or any disease, but that's the whole point. You get vaccinated so that you have a better chance of dealing with whatever the virus is. I will no longer wear a mask when I don't have to. Obviously, the CDC says it's still good to wear within airports and airplanes and places like nursing homes. So that is the time to do it. But again, I think people have been doing this, quite frankly, for a long time. I'm glad the CDC has caught up with red state Republican governors who had this policy in place a while ago.
Okay. But I think in stores, you will probably, there are still some stores and businesses that require you to wear a mask. So I think it's a little misleading, because you'll have those people going into stores going, the CDC said I didn't have to wear.
Well, what's happened, Tammi Mack, is that a lot of these stores have actually gone with that same direction and guidance. Our governor went with that same direction and guidance and lifted the mask restriction, and all restrictions will be lifted in the middle of June. Trader Joe's, Walmart, a number of other stores that have a lot of people congregating in them have decided they also won't have these mask mandates. As it was pointed out, it's going to be incredibly difficult to actually police this thing. And so again, if you're vaccinated, you should be able to go out your normal life. That's the whole point of getting a vaccination.
Dominique?
Well, I think that, it's true that it's nice to have perks for getting fully vaccinated. And I think the CDC is trying to encourage more Americans who are hesitant or on the fence, because then they can say, hey, I don't have to wear a mask. So maybe it's an incentive. But I kind of agree with you, Tammi Mack, because there will be a lot of confusion. And if we do see another surge, summer is right around the corner, people want to get out and party anyway. If we do see another surge, then it's going to be a problem, because all of us are going to be back on lockdown. All of us are going to be back to masks, whether we have a vaccination or not. Because the odd thing is, people are saying, well, I'm vaccinated, so I don't want to be around anyone unvaccinated. But really, it should be the other way around, because the people who are really at risk are the ones who are already not wearing masks and don't want to get vaccinated. Because some people who get fully vaccinated, they're saying there's a 20% chance that you could be an asymptomatic carrier. So if I'm vaccinated and you're not, and neither one of us is wearing a mask, guess who's at risk? The one that's not vaccinated. It creates a possibility of a further spread of infection. And although I know the science does support it, when you have a larger amount of people vaccinated, there are many parts of the country where there are few people that have gotten those vaccinations. And so the chance for pockets and then those pockets to spread, it does worry me a bit. Plus, people are confused. It's not just nursing homes, it's airports, it's hospitals, it's lots of stores. Like you said, Tammi Mack, Target, Costco, a lot of the big stores are still requiring masks. So that seems like it sets up a lot of fighting and a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead, Ed.
I was going to say, I think the masks, when they originally came out, it was the immediate reaction to the spread of the virus, right? It was our best tool at the time. The vaccine has come forward. And, I think the first piece is the vaccine is here, and there's enough of a supply and there's been enough time that you've had to go and get it. Those that haven't gotten the vaccine now, it's almost purposeful that they're not getting the vaccine. And to those that have been vaccinated, then, there's this burden for them to have to live under the mask mandate. I think it's the right thing to do. I think the CDC is doing the right thing, pulling the issue of the mask. One, we're going into summer, so it's the summer months. People are going to want to get back about. For the Biden administration, it's a good thing, because it starts to bring this country towards normalcy. I think you will see for the foreseeable future, folks in airports and hotels, you'll have to wear masks, and people are abiding by it. For the show, Tammi Mack, I'm a soulmate on the ground in Las Vegas right now, and people are walking through the lobby and they're wearing their masks. There's nothing uncomfortable about it. And, I think it's the best thing for this country to get back to normal.
Yeah.
But,
we have to remember when Dominique mentioned, go ahead, Dominique.
I was just going to say, if people don't want to be vaccinated, they should have that choice. And I don't think they should be judged for it. But I do think we have to, if we have another surge, Ed, I think you and Dr. Oleko will be singing a different tune.
And let's remember that there was a surge in May, the Memorial Day, for the Memorial Day holiday. And so we're coming up on that Memorial Day holiday again. So we'll see what happens. It certainly did not bode well for the city of Los Angeles. We spiked last May when the governor allowed people to go to beaches and things of that nature for Memorial Day. I want to reach into our soulmates. I know I'm a little early on this today, but Deja Morrison says, y'all, have I missed TGIF, which is Claudia's show right here on Fox Soul, TGIF. No, you didn't miss TGIF, because here at Fox Soul, we're on demand. So you can click TGIF if you want to and watch TGIF any time of the day or night. And you can also watch the Tammi Mac Late Show. So stick around, Deja Morrison. We'd love to have you join into this conversation. We're going to take a quick break, come right back on the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Welcome back to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Let's go to check out our soulmates. Increase Matters. Welcome back, Increase. We haven't seen you in quite some time. Says activist, humanitarian. I believe he's speaking of you, Alicia Cooper. Kim Possible says, I miss Alicia. She is so funny. And
Thank you.
Incog says, I see they got jokes for Alicia tonight. Listen, we know not to mess with a professional. Let me tell you, our jokes are simply in good fun. And we can never go in on Alicia, who's been a professional at comedy for some years now. Don't you do that. Therese says, power to the people at Alicia Cooper. And Jason Bourne is talking to Ed, says, those buffets. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Jason Bourne might have been talking to Alicia about the buffets in the Dominican Republic. Weren't you talking about the food?
Yes. It was all so much, and it was so economical. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, well, he was saying those buffets aren't healthy. Those buffets aren't healthy.
Oh, the buffets aren't, and they're not tasty. They don't have any of the stuff in their food that we have in ours. I'm like, what is this? Y'all don't have salt here, pepper,
no corn syrup.
Seasonal
Corn syrup. Let's see. The soulmate says this was a dangerous move by the CDC, especially when it comes to densely populated areas like New York City. You know, someone is going to take advantage who hasn't been vaccinated. It's a slippery slope. Stay masked. Jason Bourne says, I'm fully Moderna'd up over here. All right, now you better toss it out. You better toss it out there. Let the people know. Let me see. I love this panel. Alicia is back. Yay! Keeping Nettie is fully vaccinated. People are still getting COVID-19. Continue wearing your mask. And then Therese says, we're about to see serious deaths more than in the beginning. Really? I like the CDC wouldn't do that to us, right?
No, they wouldn't. We've had the lowest number of cases and deaths in 8 to 10 months because of the vaccination. But again, this is the problem when you have government leaders who don't say that the vaccination is good to begin with, or if they get vaccinated, then they walk around wearing masks. The whole point of a vaccination is that it increases your inoculation with regard to a virus, meaning it is significantly less likely that you will get it, significantly less likely that you will pass it on. It's not 100%. There is no vaccination for anything that's 100%. But if you want people to get back to normal, to get out and live life, again, not just for the economy, but for their own mental health, for the psychological improvement of people and kids going back to school, you have to do something. And this is the right decision by the CDC. I think people should be excited about it and go forward with it.
I love the way you turn everything into a partisan thing.
I didn't name a party. I didn't name a party at all. I said government leaders. That's all I said.
Yeah, you just said red, blue. It's really subtle. But I mean, the thing is, you need to tell the folks in your party to get vaccinated if that's how you feel. Why is it that one of the main pockets of people we're seeing the hesitancy is the red states and their great leadership? And that's part of the reason why we're probably never going to reach herd immunity in this country.
Well, I don't think that's actually true. There are a number of reasons why people don't get vaccinations. As you said up front, if you choose not to get one, you don't have to. But need I remind you, it was your dear senator, now vice president, who said, I wouldn't get a vaccine if it was created during the Trump administration, as if Donald Trump and his kids were out in the kitchen cooking up the vaccine themselves. It's that kind of language that now people don't trust the vaccine that's good for them.
Yeah, but luckily for us, the science behind these vaccinations goes back 10 years, and actually the funding for it was re-upped by the Obama administration, so she didn't need to worry about that.
Well, and it also speaks to just, understanding the the value of a CDC that you can trust. I think in the past administration, we saw how the president's team tried to steer comments out of the CDC, and you actually couldn't trust what the CDC was saying. I think part of what you're getting now is a back to normalcy, not just for the country, but from our ability to trust our medical doctors and the best advice from our CDC.
Our soulmate Incog made a great point here, I thought. It says, I don't understand why they didn't just say resume all business and personal activities, but stay masked up and socially distance. It does. I mean, why say don't wear a mask, don't social distance? Why encourage that behavior as opposed to just saying, hey, go about your business and enjoy your personal activities?
Good question. Maybe we should put Incog up there in the CDC.
You want to give us a reason to get vaccinated. That's what I think it is.
I believe that too. Crusher Owens. Hi, Crusher. Crusher is new to our soulmate chat room. Crusher Owens says, Dominique is looking hotter than ever.
Well, thanks.
Hotter than ever.
And you're just happy because they're not talking about your eyes.
Crusher got a crush.
Crusher got a crush. Okay, so President Joe Biden, since we're talking about Joe Biden and this administration, warns Americans they'll lose unemployment pay if they reject suitable job offers.
I mean, that's how unemployment works. Thank you, Mr. Biden.
I'm sitting here so if Alicia can't get a job as a comedian because all the comedy clubs are closed down and she's got to get unemployment, what would be a suitable job for her? Can we
I'm turning down.
Can we come up in the chat room with suitable jobs for Alicia so that she can keep her unemployment? Please, chat room, chime in on this. What are some suitable jobs for Alicia so that she can keep her unemployment?
For her to be the person on the mic when you take a ride on the airplane. I would like her to have that.
Good. That's a good one, Dominique.
I like that one. But my thing is for Joe Biden, if you're making more sitting at home than on unemployment, that's a sad state of affairs for the place you was working in. Make these people increase their wages. Nobody wants to sit at home, and unemployment ain't paying you like that. Like they act like people get ready to buy a home off unemployment. It's not even paying like that. So obviously there's some horrible wages out here that unemployment is the better option.
Yeah,
that is a sad story to tell.
I was disappointed that Joe Biden said that because I felt like he was saying a Republican talking point, which is a not true Republican talking point. Alicia's got the idea, raise the minimum wage, $20 an hour like it should be, get childcare for people. Most people, a lot of people still have kids in this so-called hybrid school and all kinds of weird arrangements where they can't necessarily go back to work. I mean, there's a lot of factors here. So I don't think repeating Republican talking points, which justifies governors cutting people off of unemployment that they need, is at all helpful, Mr. President.
Dr. Oleka?
Well, for one of the few times in his presidency, Joe Biden is right on this issue. And it's different, of course, than what some of my colleagues have said. Working is important. It's more than just getting a paycheck. There is dignity in work, being able to have a purpose for what you do, being able to bring money back for yourself and your family. All those things matter. And so when you have folks who are unemployed, who otherwise could be working, but they've chosen not to work because it makes more sense financially, that's not good for them long term. It's not good for their family long term. It's not good for their community long term or the economy. And so as a result, if you tell people you got to go back to work, that again creates a sense of purpose that they otherwise might not have. It provides a level of dignity, and it allows people to get back into the economy, which is then helpful for state governments because they can get income taxes that way. They can get sales taxes because more people are contributing to the economy. These are benefits to the state. They're benefits to individuals, and they're beneficial to families. So Biden is right on this because he sounds like a Republican. If he'd do it more often, he'd probably be a little better president.
Yeah, no, I mean it's such a far more complicated issue than just finding some dignity in work. I think most people find dignity in work. It really is a question of how our governments find dignity in our citizens. To Dominique's point, when you start to look at why some people aren't working, it's not just because I'm on unemployment and I'm making a few more dollars an hour than I normally would. It really does come down to some of the other issues, like whether or not I can find childcare and arrange my schedule in a way that I can still play a role with my kids. That's where this comes back to this question of what is suitable work. And what we know and what I think I'm fearful of is when we start to get around to certainly some of the red states and states that have African-American populations, I think you're going to see governments trying to toss wholesale populations off of unemployment. And at this juncture, I think that's a horrible idea.
Mm. Okay. I was reading in the chat, they were kind of going off, but I couldn't figure out and follow where they were going off at. But I thought each of you made very good points. I can't disagree with Dr. Oleka. I just can't. I can't disagree with Dr. Oleka this time. That's the Republican side of me coming out.
your good side coming out.
But I do believe. I do believe. Ed, when you say people, people aren't just out here not wanting to work. I don't believe that. If you think that Americans are just out here going, oh, great, I don't have to work, I'm a chill. That's come on now. You got to think more of Americans than that. Americans work. We work. That's what we do. And we want to work and we want to provide for our families. And we do want the dignity that comes with working. So I don't believe for one moment that that most Americans are sitting at home going, well, shoot, I get more money off unemployment than I do, so I ain't going back to work. I think that's an unfair assessment to make of Americans. We're going to take a quick break. Come right back on the Tammi Late Show on Fox Soul. I don't know if the people in the chat room are mad at me or Dr. Oleka. I don't know. So that's what's going on. Princess Robinson says some jobs are never going to come back. Kim Possible says, unfortunately, these politicians will side with their money above their party's loyalty. Ridiculous. Dignity in work. How is it dignity when you're paid like a slave? Slaves didn't get paid. Unemployment level is the lowest since the pandemic. Why you want them to come back to work and be poorer? Seriously, how can you find dignity knowing that being unemployed, you get paid more than busting your ass? Ridiculous. Like you can barely pay rent, bills, and etc. I can, another soulmate commenting, I can afford to buy things I couldn't afford when I was working.
Won't they?
Two things. Look, listen, if you can afford to buy things that you couldn't afford to buy when you were working, one or two things are happening. Either you're still working and you're getting double the pay because you also getting unemployment, or you are now maybe shopping at cheaper stores. I don't know, like how is unemployment. Maybe I'm missing out on something. How much is unemployment?
It's not much.
It's not much,
but I think what's happening is when you're on unemployment, you don't have to spend your money on gas. You don't have to spend your money on food out, like lunch and things like that. A lot of people are eating at home. They're not spending their money on gas. They're not driving anywhere. There's the expenses are lower not going out than they are going out. So they take that into account as well.
Not for this soulmate. They say they buying stuff they wasn't able to buy on when they was working. Sound like her expenses went up. She can afford things she couldn't afford when she was working. I'm like, how? So you mean
let me tell you, Gucci hit different on unemployment.
Well, you know what? Also, you got to look at scale. Your unemployment is going to be way less than your pay because you're in a certain class of worker. If you're an essential worker and you're making the minimum wage in some of these places, then your unemployment may be closer to your actual salary. So if you add the extra on top of that, it may be that boost. But that's just another argument to raise the minimum wage to $20 an hour instead of the antiquated. It really should be 30 for people to live in, at least in these urban areas where prices are so high. Most people can't afford the rent on minimum wage unless they're working 2 full-time jobs.
Well, this is the challenge when you start talking about a federal piece of legislation to raise the minimum wage, because you stop talking about how cost of living is very different in different states. Cost of living in Kentucky, where I live, is very different than it is in California. So a minimum wage at $7.25 goes a lot further here than it would in California. That's why states set that
$7.25 doesn't go
policy.
far anywhere. That wage hasn't been raised in decades, and that's ridiculous, Dr. Oleg. Sure, $7.25 will buy more in Kentucky.
On that, Dr. Oleg. I'm about to do a Tyler Perry on you, Dr. Oleg. 725 times 8 is 58 times 5 is $290 a week.
No.
So are we saying that people can live off $290 a week? Dr. Oleka, can you live off $290 a week in Kentucky?
Well, again, if we're talking about the minimum wage, I think it's important to understand where those jobs are. Typically, those jobs are fast food restaurants. They're folks who are having a job for the first time. There was a study that said that 4% of actual household leaders make minimum wage. So when you're talking about a minimum wage and you're trying to raise it, typically that hurts people who haven't had any work, who don't have a ton of skills. You want to get those people into the workforce so they can get a good first job, so they can get good opportunities to build connections and build relationships and move up in their career. That doesn't happen if they get priced out, because if you make the minimum wage 20, or as Dominique is saying, $30 an hour, then a machine is going to do their work and they're not going to get hired at all. That's part of the challenge, and that's part of the problem.
Basic minimum income, and we'll keep it pushing. But you know that I don't know what study you're talking about. First of all, in Seattle and San Francisco, where they raised the wage, those jobs did not go away. And second of all, there are many people raising families on minimum wage jobs. So this myth of the first job out of high school, it sounds good, but in reality, a lot of people are raising families working 2 and 3 minimum wage jobs.
That is true. Families are have to work multiple minimum wage jobs, and that is unfortunate because it takes the family out of family. If you have to work so much, when do you have time to spend with your family? When do you have time to partake in the good old American ways like baseball games and things of that nature? I think we really should. This country puts a little too much emphasis on commerce and capitalism, and we should go back to more family-oriented ideals in this country. In a White House press conference, New York Mayor Bill DeBlasio, DeBlasio's vaccination incentive includes free fries from the Shake Shack. Here's a clip.
Randy, thank you to the whole Shake Shack team. This is really going to help us out. And did you say free fries when you get vaccinated? I got vaccinated. You're saying I could get this? These delicious fries?
Oh,
That's embarrassing.
And a hush came across the room. Well, hold that thought. You don't have to say anything because Ohio's governor one-upped DeBlasio. He announced that any adult who gets vaccinated will automatically be entered into a statewide $1 million lottery.
Now that's what I'm talking about. I don't need no free 99-cent fries. I want that $1 million. But where he's going wrong is
real quick, Alicia. we just showed it. Show the tweet once more. On May 26th, we will announce a winner of a separate drawing for adults who have received at least their first dose of the vaccine. This announcement will occur each Wednesday for 5 weeks, and the winner each Wednesday will receive $1 million. I'm getting vaccinated every week.
First of all, you should at least have to have your second dose. Because if I have 1 dose and I get $1 million, I'm going to the Dominican Republic. I ain't never getting that second damn dose. So at least get the second dose to qualify. Like, that's just dumb. And $1 million, everybody in Ohio about to sign up. I've been vaccinated. I'm about to go to Ohio and start over.
I'm telling you, I'm getting
Give me a
vaccinated
cool
every
meal.
week. I'm going in. You know how they do the when you give blood, you go and you give blood all the time, get a little money to give the blood. Yeah, I'm going to get vaccinated every week in Ohio until this contest is over with. But what are your thoughts, Ed, on this push to get people vaccinated within cities?
I like the creativity.
It feels like a GoFundMe. You know, on
Yeah, I don't have a problem
GoFundMe, you
with
got to
Ohio.
give people incentives to contribute to your GoFundMe.
Yeah, but I like it. It's creative. I do have a problem with DeBlasio using a particular company. That's just free advertising for this company, and I don't like a government entity you doing that. That seems unfair to McDonald's, In-N-Out, and everyone else that's competing in that realm. But from the lottery standpoint, I think it's creative. It's innovative. It's funny that it's a Republican governor trying to encourage people to get vaccinated. He seems to be going against the grain there, but it is a creative idea.
What do you think, Dr. Oleka? We like this push?
I think it's terrible policy. You were talking about $5 million of taxpayer money going to a single individual, or $1 million going to a single individual or a single household. That doesn't make any sense at all. Not to mention that this money came from a federal bill that was given to states in terms of a bunch of money that they didn't need. And now we're just in more debt so that Governor DeWine can hand people $1 million. I think it's awful policy. I don't think it's the right way to send the signal on vaccinations. I think it's terrible. And I actually think he's probably going to get primaried. And this is probably one of the reasons why.
Well, the optics don't look as good as DeBlasio eating those fries. But
who was DeBlasio?
You mean I can get these if I get my vaccine?
He's like, everybody has been on my 600-pound life getting ready to storm New York's Capitol because they like, I need them free fries. Who is that hard up for fries at the Shake Shack?
Dominique, what are your thoughts on the incentive?
Yeah, I think he should keep his day job because acting ain't it. I was waiting for him to lick his fingers. That's all. That's just not a good look for an elected official.
I thought you only eat I thought you only lick your fingers when you're eating chicken.
Like I said, he got to keep his day job, Tammy, because acting ain't it.
Finger licking.
It's funny you say that because that was KFC's official motto, and they had to give it up during the pandemic because they didn't want people doing that.
Then they have to wash their hands, lick their hands, and wash their hands again.
You know what would have been interesting, like on the Ohio one? If he had set a goal before they started passing out the money, like if there had been we want to get 45% of the population vaccinated and then went to the lottery system, would you be in favor of that, Dr. O.J. Oleka?
No, because it doesn't make any sense to say you can have a lottery to get a vaccine that you probably don't want. I mean, we just talked about it. There's enough vaccine out there for people. Well, there's enough vaccine out there for people to get it.
Vaccinations out. The $5 million, you would spend that on advertising in the first place. So I think
this is my broader argument is this is a vaccine to make sure that you can become inoculated from a virus that could kill you. If you don't want to take it, then you don't have to take it. That's on you. But to then say, let's spend $5 million of taxpayer money on either advertising or a lottery doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, we were also just talking about the minimum wage.
We encourage people to do things all the time.
People and take care of people. If you got $5 million in your state, why don't you put that towards some poverty initiative or something that's actually going to be useful, as opposed to $1 million to a household just because they got a vaccine that they were already.
Earlier in the show, we were talking about how getting vaccinated is useful. And you could go to any major city, any major state. We spend that type of money to encourage people to get bus passes, transportation tokens, all that sort of stuff. It's the greater good that we're talking about. I don't think that's an insane use of taxpayer funds.
I think it's an insane use of taxpayer funds, again, because they came from a federal bill that flushed states with cash when they didn't need it. And so now they're trying to figure out how to spend it. I think there are better ways to push a vaccine, focusing on health, number one. Number two, if people don't want to get vaccinated, bribing them to do so, I don't think makes a whole lot of sense.
We got to go to a commercial break. We got to go to a commercial break real quick, but Incog says Shake Shack can keep their fries. Let's take a break and come right back on the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Welcome back to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul, where every Friday we just recap the week. That's the business of being Black with Dr. Oleka, Alicia Cooper, Dominique DePrima is with us, and Ed Sanders is here too, trying to pull up some of these because they are, I don't know what y'all doing in the chat. Like, y'all are in full force tonight in this chat. I can't even keep up with you. Let's see here. Everybody on this board looks good. Dr. Oleka has some very good points. There you go, Dr. Oleka.
Recruit one.
Yeah.
First time in, I think, 4 months, so that's good news.
Let's see here. Therese had a comment in here I wanted to toss in, but I can't find it because we're pretty thick today. Let's see. Jessica. Hi, Jessica. Jessica says $600 a week in Georgia was $900 a week. Therese said that extra $600 a week made a big difference. And Princess Robinson says COVID unemployment pay was higher than your regular pay. So for some, and as you mentioned, who minimum wage workers, the pay was probably equal to or higher than. If we're talking about Kentucky, apparently it's just you're just getting $290 a week if you work 8 hours a day, 725. And but also unemployment, I know for the state of California meant more than those jobs that were minimum wage jobs. California, there are a lot of people who are self-employed in the acting industry, in the entertainment industry. And so the unemployment is good for those. We were talking about Alicia and being a comedian earlier. And I'm an actress, I ain't been getting no work.
It's coming.
but okay. Let me be quiet. Ed and OJ was hanging out smoking weed together before the show tonight. I don't know where that came from.
I don't get it either.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that's coming from, Therese. Kim Possible says DeBlasio's acting career will never happen. Ha ha ha. Those stale fries won't convince me. A cyber criminal gang took a major United States fuel pipeline offline over the weekend after a ransomware attack. The shutdown affected the supply of gas in parts of the East Coast. I have friends who were calling me like, you get your gas. And then have you guys seen the viral videos of people like loading up barrels of gas, putting it in the beds of their trunk? And this one woman just had a barrel with no top over it, and she was filling it up. I was like, I think she don't really understand what's about to happen here when she says stuff. So what about this whole thing with this gas pipeline and the yeah, go ahead, Ed.
No, I mean, I think it raises a number of different issues, right? I think the first one is just sort of our infrastructure security, and how vulnerable we can be to in this day and age with technology. This is sort of the outgrowth of the conversation around that we just had around the elections. And can we protect the ballot machines? But you're starting to see that there really is this list of targets that it has a threat exposure. And whether you're talking about the pipeline, whether you're talking about nuclear power plants, we now know that there are criminal agents throughout the world, whether in Eastern Europe or on the Asian continent, that have the capability to cause harm to our industry here in the United States. And so we've got to figure something out on how to protect it. And that's sort of the first piece.
Yeah, it's interesting just how exposed we are as a nation. Dominique?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's absolutely true. And it's interesting that some of my friends on the right are, oh no, gas prices are so high. Hello, of course, we just had a major hack. So instead of focusing on cybersecurity, which is a real serious issue, they want to, just think about the consequence of these gas prices. But this kind of a hack, as we've seen it with water infrastructure, I mean, it could impact so many things because we're now so dependent on, computers for everything. I mean, I think that's one piece of it. For me, it's also a reminder of yet another reason to move away from fossil fuels. I mean, yeah, I know we'll have computers in our renewable energy, but hopefully because it's new technology, we can build it a little bit more secure. And we have the added bonus of not ruining the human habitat so that our kids and grandkids will have a planet to live on.
Alicia?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this whole gas thing, just watching people do dumb stuff with it, like putting it in plastic bags. I'm like, really? First of all, what is that, 2 blocks worth of gas? It was so ridiculous. And I mean, they don't know how this thing works. If it's vapors hit, they're going to blow the whole car, blow themselves out of the damn car. People get too excited over anything. That's what happened with the whole COVID and the toilet paper. Everybody running around stacking up toilet paper. My one friend had a whole apartment full of toilet paper, then had the trunk of her car filled with more toilet paper. I said, we do have a shortage now because it's all in your damn apartment. So now everybody's hoarding everything and it becomes a shortage.
Yeah,
so it's like everybody just
Alicia,
calm
my
down.
girlfriend went and got a deep freezer and a gun. I was like, I said, you live alone. What do you need a deep freezer for? And I said,
you keep living. I ain't gonna run out of food. But this also raises one other point on like this, the whole colonial pipeline. And it deals with our energy and other just sort of basic necessities. When there's a disruption, how we react to it. We saw in Texas, remember when the electrical grid went down during winter. We couldn't figure out, or Texas couldn't figure out how to get power to, millions of people very quickly. Right. We saw it in New Orleans after the hurricane. We couldn't get a bottle of water into New Orleans very well. And we keep seeming to have these, what are, I think, are wholly predictable catastrophes, and we're not responding well to them. And I think this pipeline is another example of that.
Dr. Oleka.
Yeah, I agree with that point. One of the things that I think both Republicans and Democrats, conservatives, liberals can agree on is that government should have a responsibility of making sure that its own institutions are strong, particularly with infrastructure. Energy is essential to that. And when you've got these situations where, as Dominique pointed out, we are reliant more on computers, we're reliant more on technology. I really also don't care for the politics of gas prices going up. Should we blame Joe Biden? I think the bigger issue is, in fact, that we are susceptible to massive attack. And these don't even have to be states. I mean, I think there was some report that the administration said, thankfully, that this wasn't Russia, which is good. But what could be even worse if you just have random rogue actors who hate the United States, who just want to see chaos in our country. If we can't find those folks and our institutions are not strong, that's a really bad recipe for disaster that we need to figure out quick and fast.
We're going to take a quick and fast break and come right back on the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Welcome back to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. There were 2 topics we were fighting against, Tiffany Haddish and Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant won, so we'll see if we can squeeze Tiffany in after Kobe. Lakers legend, the late Kobe Bryant, will be inducted posthumously into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame on May 15th, 2021. Hall of Famer and Chicago Bulls legend Michael Jordan will present the award. I don't even know that I could ask, how do we feel about this? I think I know how we all feel about this, but go for it, Dr. Oleka.
We feel great. I mean, Kobe Bean Bryant is one of the greatest basketball players ever. If there was any player that could suit up next to Michael Jordan, it would be Kobe. Jordan even said so himself. There was one player that he couldn't beat one-on-one, it'd be Kobe, because he stole all his moves, as he'd say. This is fantastic. I love Kobe. I think this is great for basketball and great for his family and his legacy.
Alicia?
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I'm going to tune in. I've always been a Michael Jordan fan. Being able to watch him in real time in his heyday was awesome. Then being able to watch Kobe, and it's still a shock that Kobe isn't here. That's one of those moments where you always remember exactly where you were when you heard the news of Kobe's passing. And, I just, of course, we all wish he would be here today to do it, but they got the best man for the job in Michael Jordan.
Yeah, for sure. Ed? Matter of fact, hold that thought, Ed. Dominique?
Well, I'm Lakers for life. I mean, LA is going to be riveted. I think it's beautiful. I love what Michael Jordan had to say, at the memorial for Kobe Bryant. I was blessed to see him score those 80 points against Toronto. And the magic of that is something I'll remember my whole life. And just, love to his family, love to the Laker Nation.
I was at that final game too. Ed.
Oh, it's I've had this.
You're a Kobe fan.
Kobe, I've had this date circled for since they announced it. One, this is an incredible Hall of Fame class, right? It's not just Kobe, it's joining with Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan and others that are going in. It's an incredible Hall of Fame class. So, as a basketball fan, as a sports fan, if you get a chance to see all the inductions, it's going to be incredible. But Kobe's the headliner, and certainly, the impact of his passing and what that means. But as we start to get into sort of the next phase, which is all of the barbershop talk about who is the greatest and how often that conversation is being had, I think one of the important elements of this is Michael Jordan doing the induction. And, to Dominique's point, I thought he did a fantastic job at the memorial, and I'm anxious to see what he says at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
And finally, do you think Tiffany Haddish is a great choice to replace Ellen? That is the rumor. The rumor mill is that Tiffany Haddish will replace Ellen because Ellen DeGeneres is hanging up those dancing shoes for the Ellen show. Is this a good idea? Dr. Oleka, real quick.
I think it's a great idea. I think Tiffany brings a unique flair. I think she's funny. And she also brings a new audience to that show, which would be great. So I hope she gets it.
You mean black people?
Yes, black people.
I say black people. Ed, is this a good idea?
I'm laughing because I think he's right. It does bring black people back to the 3 p.m. slot on weekday television. I love Tiffany as an actress, as a comedian, as an entertainer. But I hope the best for her. I think she'd do well. I don't know what goes into evaluating that sort of role. If it's star power, she's got it. I think she'd do a great job.
Dominique.
Yeah, she's relatable. She's a humanitarian. She's funny. She keeps it down to earth. Love Tiffany Haddish. I think she's a great choice. Can she stop doing movies long enough to be in a daily TV show? We'll see, but it would be great to have her on. I'd love to see her in that job.
Alicia, she's your colleague. I'm sure you know her well and have done some shows with her. Is this a good idea? Do you think she's going to go for it? You get the last word tonight on the show.
I think it's a great idea. She has the energy to pull it off. Like Dominique said, maybe her schedule might be a little crazy, but there's a way to figure it out to make it all work if this is something she wants to do. I think it's a good idea. And before I was a comic, I was actually a talk show producer. And she's the one person I come out of retirement for to help produce that show because I think it would get ratings and do very well.
Oh, absolutely. And you can film those shows you can film 3 a day.
Yeah.
So
You can do 3.
Work 2 days out of the week.
That's get the whole week.
That's the trajectory I'm hoping my life goes. Film 5 shows in 2 days. All right. This completes the 5th episode of this show for the week. Thank you so much, Dr. Oleka, Ed, Alicia, and Dominique for being on the show each and every Friday. Thank you, Soulmates, for chiming in. Until Monday, everybody, it's a blessing to be in your box. Bye, y'all.